The original text of Sue King's novel Beauty on the Crossroad 3. Is his words good? I was delayed in Qingdao for a few days, and only once was I alone with my sister, who said many heartfelt words to me. Oh, Xiaomei, I know that my illness will never be cured. I just pity my mother for raising me in vain. She spent her hard-earned savings on me to study until I graduate from college, but now it ends like this. Sister, I heard her say sadly, so I wanted to comfort her with a few words. But what's the use of a few general words of comfort? She had been ill for a long time, thinking about everything about herself all the time. She had read in detail all kinds of medicines and prescriptions for prevention and repair. Her medical knowledge, especially about lung diseases, was really rich. Astonishingly, once I saw the news on a poster in Shanghai that a large amount of special medicine for lung diseases would be shipped from the United States. I was very excited, so I quickly wrote to her to tell her, as if once this medicine arrived, Sclerotinia bacteria would be wiped out immediately. Unexpectedly, she smiled calmly after reading the letter and said to the National Security Agent, "The so-called special medicine for lung disease is called Streptomycin. This kind of medicine has been advertised in American magazines for a long time, but they didn't say it was special or anything. It's just that this medicine can help lung diseases." The National Security Officer was disappointed and asked, "Is there any absolutely effective medicine?" My sister smiled bitterly and said, "So far, actually not yet. I just hate the scientists in the world for being so useless." The National Security Officer asked, "But can we try some more beneficial drugs first?" She replied, "As far as I know, there are more than 100 beneficial medicines, and there are countless non-destructive ones. Where can I try them all?" In short, she has always been very clear about her disease. I simply have nothing to say about it. Seeing that I called Sister Wan and then stopped talking, she probably knew that I had nothing to say, so she added herself, "Xiaomei, I don't know if there are ghosts after death. I am a non-ghost believer, but now I hope to be a ghost. I can go to Sidia to see my mother and your children, go to Shanghai to see you, or return to Qingdao to see Brother Shikai and the others. A whole family. If there is nothing after death, it would be so funny." She coughed and choked again. I said painfully, "Maybe you won't." She smiled bitterly and said, "Why not? I know I will definitely do it. It's just a matter of time. I have lived to my 30s, which is not as short-lived. It's just that I hate that my life is too monotonous. Since elementary school in the entire 16 years since I arrived at university, I only knew how to study hard and save money. I was reluctant to spend on food and clothing. I saved the money to buy some books. But today, the doctor banned me and refused to allow me to go back to school. What about reading those troublesome books? I can only read the newspaper every day, and even the pictures and words in the advertisements are memorized. It is really boring. In fact, I just remember more words and pictures in other books. What's the point? Now it's all over and all the hard work has been wasted." I said regretfully, "Sister, you are too good to me and work too hard, which damages your mental and physical strength. If you were willing to be more sloppy in studying at the beginning, and are willing to be more sloppy in teaching now, it will not work." "That's not the case anymore," she replied. "It's a pity that I didn't want to think like this before, when I was studying, because I was using the money saved by my mother's hard work. How could I bear not to study hard?" So Chao also studied hard. Mu also worked hard, but as a result, my back became curved and my eyes became short-sighted. Finally, Huangshan paid off and got the first place in the exam when I graduated from college. The professor from my alma mater kindly kept me as a teaching assistant in the school. Being a teaching assistant is an embarrassing thing, like a young woman who is used to being an aunt suddenly becomes an aunt for others. But I still agreed, in order to stay in school and do research more conveniently. And in the future there are also many opportunities to study abroad. Xiaomei, do you know that I have always dreamed of studying abroad for the past 10 years? During the anti-Japanese war, my school moved to the mainland. Life was hard enough, but I still put my only sum of my salary was saved and exchanged for US dollars, so that I could supplement the expenses when I had the opportunity to go abroad in the future. Who knew that all hopes would come to nothing, and my body would be undernourished? The situation got worse day by day, and at the same time, I couldn't recover early, so I just dragged my illness to go to class. I also knew that pulmonary disease is a very nasty disease, so I never mentioned it in front of people. He seemed to be suspicious and asked me why I was so thin. I just replied that everyone in my family was born so thin and it didn't matter. Sometimes I felt my throat was very itchy, so I tried my best to hold back the cough. When I really couldn't help it, I had to explain to people that I had a cold recently, and they smiled coldly at me. How embarrassing! Such a malicious, suspicious, and uncomfortable smile. Eyebrow. It's not that I don't have good hygiene knowledge, nor do I care about public health. I also know that if my germs are transmitted to others, it will be harmful to others but not beneficial to myself. But what will I do if I go to a nursing home? I don't have any money. It's impossible to even ask for leave from the school, because I teach for one day and have food for one day. Not to mention such a small teaching assistant position. There are many people trying to conspire. They would force me to recuperate, and I would not be able to keep my job at that time. So I had to act innocently until the first blood spurted out. And then I had to wise up and quit the food group midway. Things are even busier. In addition to teaching in class, I have to cook on the kerosene stove. When I don't have the mind or the energy to do it, I just buy some food outside to eat. The love becomes deeper every day, and the grades of others are not as good as mine. One by one, they got the opportunity to study abroad, and soon came back with degrees from abroad. Some became professors, and some even became department heads. Only I, because of my poor health, actually worked as a teaching assistant for 7 or 8 years. The year before last, I was transferred to US University and was promoted to lecturer. But now I have to resign. Didn't you just say that I work too hard? In fact, for a helpless female teacher like us, if you work hard, who will tolerate you? In the past few years, people have treated me well, but I always feel uneasy because of my illness. I said, "Sister, please stop thinking about it. I know you have worked too hard over the years, and you should be more comfortable now. I know you have never enjoyed anything." She smiled bitterly and said, "Now that I'm unemployed, how can I talk about comfort and enjoyment? Only during this illness, I spend a lot of money on medicine, such as X-ray photography, glucose and calcium injections, and vitamins for food, pills, cod liver oil essence, antipyretics, appetizers, sleeping pills, analgesics, etc. Maybe this can be said to be a medical enjoyment at this point." She couldn't help but cough twice, as if she felt that it was definitely not the case at this moment. While telling a joke, he changed his tone and continued, "But you know how expensive Western medicine is now. I only have these savings, and I don't think I have enough time to spend them. I can't go back to City A. Although I can be hospitalized, there is a discount, but it still costs at least $2 a day. The country has never treated us civil servants favorably. I can save all this money by living frugally, but I don't know that it will be completely spent on medicine." "What? Oh, Xiaomei, I feel sad when I think about this money." I felt miserable when I heard that, so I quickly stopped her and said, "But, sister, medical treatment is also a legitimate use, and this is important." She sneered and said, "Do you think it's important? Most people don't think so. For example, brother Shikai and sister-in-law Shikai, although they are eager to buy medicine for me and sometimes send side dishes, but I know that I don't think so in my heart. They think that a woman's life or death is not important. If she is sick, just take 2 doses of medicine and let it go. Why should I spend so much money so seriously? But what I spend now is still my own money, so they can't say anything. If I want to borrow money from them one day, it will be different. But I don't blame them. Everyone in the family thinks so. Even if Shikai Nying got sick last year, she would not let go of the money and would rather risk her life to fight the bacteria. As a result, she probably got better because of her strong natural resistance, so she was proud of it. Said, "How is it? It doesn't matter if I say it doesn't matter. We women are born with bitter bones and are not prone to making mistakes. Even if we do make mistakes, we will suffer from diseases and prolong our lives. It is not as important as having men. There is a saying from the ancients that men have a golden body of 7 treasures, while women have an ugly body. How can we treat it the same?" These are the words of our female compatriots themselves. Do you want to hear this or not? However, I am a miserable person and I am not able to live up to my expectations. The problems are dragging on day by day. I really can neither survive nor die. I wanted to stop her, but I couldn't speak. I felt sour in my heart. My sister seemed to know my sadness, so she changed her words and said something else. Xiao Mei, let me tell you something. There is a male patient living next door here. He is also a tuberculosis patient. He has only been in the hospital for half a month. My wife personally brings side dishes every day, including meat, and I can't finish them. I heard that in good times, that gentleman came here for prostitution and gambling, but now that he is ill, he is still unable to make a living. I often say to the nurse, what's the point of being a human being? I've eaten everything. I've worn everything. And I'm tired of playing whatever I want. I've seen the colorful world when I was alive, so I shouldn't have anything to say to the king of hell after I die, right? It turns out that he believes that the purpose of life is to enjoy. No wonder his wife, who was listening in, was not only not annoyed at all, but was also afraid that he would actually go to see the king of hell to make an explanation. So she held him back with tears in his eyes and said, "You don't think like that. Why would you want to go there at such a young age? Things in the young world are always better than that side. As long as Bodhisattva assures you that your health will get better day by day, you can just play if you want. I have figured it out now and won't talk more and live more." The man nodded after hearing this and went to sleep peacefully, thinking about his colorful world. But yesterday they suddenly started arguing again, saying that it was stuffy living in the courtyard, and he wanted to go back. The reason was, it's good, but it won't get better. If you can't die, what's the point of asking people to lie here every day? The food here is not good, the nursing service is not attentive, and the lights are on all night, and there are constant voices in the corridor, making it difficult for people to sleep. Are you trying to cheat me of copper coins or something? In the middle of the night, when I was just about to close my eyes, the nurse suddenly opened the door and came in, holding a hard and cold thermometer and stuffing it into my mouth. My heart was so frightened that I thought Bai Wuchang was going to kill me. If you want to die, you should die at home. I interrupted and asked, did he get discharged from the hospital later? The sister smiled and said, not yet, because the doctor said he needs to be wrapped in plaster, and I'm afraid he will have to be wrapped in the hospital for a year or two. After saying that, she thought of her own affairs again and said, wrap him in the hospital. It has been a very painful thing for a long time, but I am homeless and cannot go to Brother Shikai's house. You only have 2 apartments in Shanghai, and your mother is taking your children in City A. Oh, what a pity. The dormitory they gave me at S University was taken back by them again. My luggage and books were all stored at Brother Shikai's house. Last time I asked them to spray some disinfectant on it. Now I still think about becoming a woman. It's better to be ordinary, marry someone, take care of the house, and raise children. This is called happiness. It's not okay to be different. Hope is a deceptive and harmful thing. I have been completely deceived by it for more than 10 years. Damn it. At this point, her cheekbones turned red. I was afraid that she would be too excited and get hot again. I suddenly thought of another thing and said to her, "Sister, I forgot to tell you something important. Brother Shikai heard from someone that there is a herb called agave, which is very effective for lung diseases. Sister, I think you might as well give it a try." She pondered for a moment, and finally the light of hope shot out from her sunken eyes, and she asked happily, "What is agave? You'd better buy a copy of Compendium of Materia Medica for me to take a look at tomorrow. I have never understood Chinese medicine, but if there is no harm in taking this medicine, I think it might as well just buy it and try it." Fortunately, the price of herbal medicine is never too expensive, thank God. She has not given up hope of living. She has not forgotten about money, and she is willing to let us buy some agave to try. They turned out to be ordinary.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.